Please join us. Welcome Alison Mishkin from OpenAI. Yes,
fancy.
Great. So first of all, welcome to FOSI. OpenAI has just joined FOSI, so we're absolutely delighted that you've joined us. Tell us what you think what is it that you're hoping to get out of being involved with FOSI, and what can you offer us in the wider community?
Sure. So we're super thrilled to announce today, although I don't know exactly when the press release is landing. I'll leave that to the comms team, to join FOSI for two reasons. Firstly, I think FOSI does an excellent job of prioritizing these questions of how do we make sure that technology, and in our case, generative AI, is truly designed in the best interest of young people, but with safety as a default. Young people cannot be optional to tech companies. We need to design with them their needs deliberately in mind and make sure that we're truly protecting and empowering young people while also ensuring their safe online exploration. And so I think what FOSI has done is over the last 20 years really advocated for this as a critical position, and it's something that we as OpenAI do in everything we design. Make sure that there's safe defaults for young people on your product, while also making sure that you're deliberately designing for them to truly benefit. So I think we're really excited to share in that value with FOSI and look forward to advocating for solutions that ensure young people retain critical access in safe, responsible manners. And I think that second point is that collaboration. One of the things that I think FOSI has done so well throughout its history is think through who needs to be at the table to advance solutions for young people. It's not enough to say, okay, tech company, you do this, but instead we need to make sure that we're working together to have robust solutions that prioritize parents, that prioritize families, whatever they look like, that think through smart and well-informed policy, and what is the role that technology can happen. And so I think what's so exciting about events like this and through the work that FOSI does is really thinking through what are those multi-selector solutions that we can work on together to build a robust ecosystem for young people. So we don't allow under 13s on our product, but I saw some research recently outside of the Girl Scouts, for example, that over 50% of young girls ages 11 to 13 had asked a chatbot for help when they felt sad, lonely, or anxious. This is an incredibly sobering statistic, and one that we take very seriously when we design our default protections for young people. At the same time, to address this issue, it's critical to think through what else is happening in a young girl's life that might lead them to need to go to a chatbot for this. And creating solutions for these concerning statistics involves not just what should the tech company do, but what needs to exist on the ground with families, with communities, with third spaces to ensure that we're having robust solutions. And I think that multi-sector, truly online, offline connection is something that FOSI has prioritized and done an excellent job at advocating for from ground one. And we're looking forward to being part of these critical conversations.
Brilliant. Thank you. So I had the pleasure of coming out to San Francisco and sitting in a room with some of the top researchers in the world that you guys hosted us, but you're doing your own research. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So I'm going to talk a little bit about sort of the collaboration that we do. It's not enough for us to kind of at OpenAI check and design our own work. So there's a couple initiatives that we've done to make sure that when we're developing our models, they're done with both the best interest of young people as well as the best experts in the world. So specifically, we've collaborated with researchers to design our models around principles of self-determination theory. How do we make sure that chatbots and the way we define well-being is thinking through how do we support young people's autonomy? How do we support young people's competency? And how do we support their interconnectedness in their community by, for example, getting them offline, getting involved, and actually practicing what they might be asking a chatbot about? One of the things I really like about working in generative AI is like our success as a model is like getting you offline. Recently, my sink, this is not something a teenager would ask, but recently my sink broke. And so I needed to ask ChatGPT how to fix my sink or if I needed to call a plumber. And that's an answer that I can only actually solve or learn if I then get offline and fix my sink. I shouldn't be online being, okay, but after I do the pipe, what do I do this? What do I do this? Okay, question about different types of pipes and like going off on a rabbit hole. I need to make sure that I'm getting offline, implementing what I'm learning. And so that's sort of that's sort of another principle that we design our models around. And in doing so, we collaborate with both a global physician network who help us make sure that all model responses are prioritizing teens agency, teens well-being, and are age appropriate in design, as well as we have a council of well-being, a well-being council, who are experts in well-being, who've helped us design these principles and who collaborate with us on every release. And then finally, the other person who we have to listen to is it's not just enough. I feel like I'm preaching to the choir here, but it's not enough to design for teens without bringing teens to the table and making sure that we're listening to teenagers, what they need, what they want when designing AI solutions for them. And so a lot of the research that we do is really around bringing these principles to light through the lens of self-determination theory and making sure that we really have a goal for what well-being looks like and how we're making sure that we're designing for well-being at the heart.
Brilliant. Is there anyone from Estonia here? I don't often get to ask that kind of a question, but no. I just read about a remarkable deal, thing you've signed with Estonia and schooling. Do you want to explain that?
Sure. So it's through our OpenAI for Countries initiatives. We've recently partnered with the country of Estonia, and we're piloting with 30,000 upper secondary students and their teachers to give them access to a specially designed chatbot for education that embeds principles of metacognition and other elements of learning sciences to ensure that the chatbot can prioritize educational outcomes. However, it's not enough for us to say, trust us. And so we're partnering with the University of Tartu and with Stanford as well to measure the impact on learning, and then also to externalize the toolkits that we're using to measure learning, so that others in this industry can measure the educational impacts of their generative AI implementations in schools. Early results have come out, and they're incredibly promising and showing that when properly designed, chatbots can support, scaffold, and encourage these higher order thinking skills that I think we all want to make sure that young people are able to realize. And so we've just launched and kind of our initial model in Estonia. We've also are doing similar things in Greece. And finally, we just announced we're also going to be expanding this initiative to Malta. And what's really exciting about the Malta initiative is that anyone, as long as you go through an AI literacy certification, you can get access to a ChatGPT account. And I think that really does a really critical job of bridging not just here's access, now you're good to go, but how are we making sure that young people and society is trained to think through how can I use this well to support my goals? Because I do think that literacy piece is a key thing that we need to unlock for everyone to make sure that generative AI is used as a tool to achieve what they want rather than kind of a supplement.
Brilliant. And I understand you have an announcement or some initiative that's coming out of with the G7. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure. So I think one thing throughout that I've tried to potentially sprinkle in is this question of, and we are externalizing, and we are going to release the toolkit for educational measurement, and we're asking folks to evaluate our work. And what we're really excited to launch our support for is thinking through what would a Youth AI Safety Institute, or AC, look like. We believe very strongly that we need to take youth safety as seriously as we take other frontier risks like cybersecurity, national security, et cetera. And we are hoping to put together a youth AC that will really evaluate and measure what are the impacts of generative AI on youth. I think a lot of the wonderful providers here, including Gemini, have a suite of protections by default to make sure that teenagers are empowered and are receiving safe experiences online. However, what we need to protect consumers and to protect young people is not just technology companies saying, trust us, we have safeguards, they work, and the policies are great. We think they're the policies that are needed. We need independent third parties validating the policies and the approaches that these companies take to protecting young people. And then also evaluating them, making sure that they show their homework and that a consumer can basically say, here's a map of what these technology companies are doing based on their performance. I want my kid using this platform, or ideally lifting all boats and helping have a shared floor and a shared understanding of the many ways in which generative AI can help young people flourish when designed with their best interest and their safety in mind.
Wow. Okay. Well, we are more than excited that you guys have joined. I hope you will also be collaborating with a lot of the folks here in this room. Thank you so much, Allison. I really appreciate it.
We're so excited to be here and looking forward to collaborating and learning with everyone here.
Thank you.